light up the world. We light up the world.
Welcome to Fire to Inspire the podcast. I'm your host, Angel Yasmin, and today's quote is, "The greatest wealth is health." We have a very special guest by the name of Dr. Sarepta, and she is a woman physician whose platform is to motivate, advocate, and educate patients on non-patients from different backgrounds on the aspects of understanding their health and how to navigate the complexities of life that prevent your health from getting better. She desires to provide resolutions to health and wellness, starting with each person's mental capacity to fully understand the world around them. Yet, despite the obstacles of running her own podiatry practice, being a single mother, she continues to beat the odds of being a leading woman physician in her specialty. She's a sought-after speaker of various health and wellness topics in numerous publications to help reach the masses and those that need this information. Dr. Sarepta holds monthly health talks, seminars where she meets with her patients and family members of her patients to discuss pertinent health and wellness topics. Let's welcome Dr. Sarepta. How are you, sweetheart?
I'm good. Thank you so very much. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being
Appreciate
on.
that.
We're going to go ahead and fire away. Tell us a little bit about your background and how you got started in your industry.
Sure. Okay, so I'll try to streamline the story.
Do
I
your
think
thing.
all of our stories are a little bit, they're complicated, they're complex, right?
Yes.
How we get to where we are. So I'm originally from the Northeast, New York,
Okay.
New Jersey. I was born in New Jersey. I moved to Atlanta 4 years ago from New York
Nice.
after I completed my residency training. So I did all of my formal education up in New York and came down to Atlanta just to start this new life. You know, packed up and thought that I would come here and start practice. And I did that, came down, started working with a group here, a multi-specialty group, which was good. But I also quickly learned, after I thought I knew everything about myself, right, that working in a group setting was not for me. And so,
Not for me either.
was not for me. Some of us have that entrepreneurial spirit.
Absolutely.
And we have no choice regardless, right?
Sometimes you're called to do
We are.
something completely different.
Absolutely.
Outside the box.
That's
for
right.
sure.
That's right. And so with all the fear, I went into private practice a year after practicing, which is considered crazy, and so I've been in private practice now for 3 years. I'll be celebrating my 3-year anniversary of private practice next month, July.
Oh, congratulations.
Yes. Thank you so
Time
much.
to celebrate.
Yes, time to celebrate. Yes. And so that's what sort of I've been doing. That's kind of what has led me to where I am today.
Okay,
Big part
so
of it.
what's your field of expertise? Like, what are you passionate about?
Sure. I would say, so that's a question, again, that requires a little bit of explanation because obviously, you know, I specialize in podiatry, the foot and ankle, but I really would say that my field of expertise, my passion lies in health and wellness education. And I am so extremely passionate about that. It's dear to my heart. Where that stemmed from was because of the lack of education when it comes to health and the disparity in our community specifically, right?
Yes.
So I try to be very specific of that, concerning that. It's that passion came from me seeing the outcomes comes within different groups with the same condition, right?
Yeah.
And so I knew that there was something there. Like, you know, it's not that we don't want to take care of our health. It's not that we don't care about our health. It's because oftentimes we don't understand.
Right.
We don't know.
We don't know.
And so my passion lies there in helping to alleviate that.
You have so many accolades. So many awards. Like, let's talk about how have you made an impact in the community so far?
I truly am humbled. I guess I'm humbled when I talk about it. I'm also grateful that, you know, I don't do it for accolades, but I'm grateful that I'm able to do something. I'm walking in my purpose.
Right.
I truly feel that I am walking in my purpose and I guess receiving recognition for something that I truly love. Oftentimes we're doing things that we're not really passionate about. We're just kind of going through the motions, right? We're not living in our truth. And so I guess with the accolades, I appreciate them. I'm grateful for them, humbled by them.
Yes.
But I think the thing that I'm mostly appreciative about, and I remind myself is I'm grateful. It's just gratitude.
Yes, of
for
course.
Yeah, absolutely. For receiving them for something that I truly am passionate about. It's my heart.
Wow.
It really is.
Okay, so what are some of the things that you've made a difference in the community?
From a standpoint of education, you know,
Okay.
I started Serenity Health Talks, which is sort of like a branch off of my practice.
Right.
First of all, it started very informally, right?
And this is a talk that you have every month,
It's
right?
a talk that I have every month
With
a group
friends
with
and
friends
families.
and patients. Yeah, with patients, friends, and families of theirs, really.
Okay.
And it started because I had a group of patients who we talked about something that's very common in my field, diabetes, right? A great deal of my patients have diabetes and a lot of chronic health conditions, but with diabetes being the most common, especially in the African American community, right?
You're right.
It's running rampant and it's an epidemic, right? Unfortunately, though, as widespread as diabetes is, a lot of us truly do not understand the consequences of diabetes, right? How many times have we heard an auntie or an uncle say, "Oh, that's just a little bit of sugar"? That's not right.
That's not even true.
Really?
It's such a myth to even say that
Right.
that's what causes.
Right. That's just a little.
That's just
bit
a
of
little
sugar.
strand of
Right.
what causes diabetes.
Right.
But we'll talk about that after you're done. Go
Right.
ahead.
So I got from that a lot of my patients did not understand the consequences of diabetes. They didn't
Right.
understand the complexity. In my field specifically, things like amputation, right? Things like poor circulation, neuropathy, where patients lose sensation from having diabetes. And, you know, the knowledge was not there. The knowledge base on how to manage the disease was not there in the certain community, African American community to be specific, that I was serving. And so I started holding these talks. Aside from seeing them in clinic, I said, you know what, why don't we have an hour on this specific day where I just come, you guys sit, we'll have, you know, some refreshments, and we'll talk about what you don't understand. What is preventing you from taking charge and controlling this disease?
Yeah.
What questions do you have? Right? Because I found that, and I even found this in training, that patients are intimidated oftentimes when they come to see doctors.
Of course. They don't really know how to open up
Right.
about the real truth about themselves.
Absolutely.
And that is why we're having this discussion in
Sure.
the series on the power of health, because
Right.
people got to understand you have to face the truth about yourself.
That's right.
You know, some of us really walk around here like we're not obese, and we're obese. We're not our healthy selves. And I'm not judging, because
Right.
hello, I have a lot to judge for
Sure,
myself.
sure,
But I'm
really.
on here to just kind of power steer into making sure that we focus on our health care
Right.
so we can live our best life. I mean, the best quality life at that.
Right.
So this is so important that you're doing this hour of
Thank
power.
you.
That's
Thank
what
you.
I call it.
Sure,
because
it is.
It's needed.
When I took those patients, that first group of patients, I call them my pilot patients. I still remember them and where I held it. When I took them outside of the clinic setting, we sat in a very informal, almost like a circle.
Right.
And, you know, I didn't have a white coat on. It was just like, listen, ask me. It does not matter if you have had diabetes for 20 years and don't even understand the basics or can't even pronounce your medications. Ask me whatever you want to ask me. Right?
That's so good.
And
That's
I
so good.
found, oh my gosh, it was just wonderful. I found that people really started coming out of their shells and just asking things like, well, what does this mean? What does A1C mean? Or what does this lab mean?
Type 1, type 2.
Right.
There's different,
Right.
types of diabetes that we need
Sure.
to kind of know. We also need to know the symptom of being diabetic,
Of
right?
being diabetic.
So can you tell us some of those?
Sure.
on
Oh,
the show?
gosh. So it really depends on the type of diabetes, but some major symptoms, we could talk about the major
Yes.
symptoms, being increased thirst,
Okay.
right? You'll find that your thirst, increased urination is a major symptom of diabetes. So, hunger, right? Just being unable to satisfy your hunger is also. So you
Am I diabetic on
Right.
that hunger? Because, honey, I can't stop.
Right, you can't eat. So
I
you
just love
know,
to eat. I'm
sure,
just
sure.
playing.
And interestingly enough, weight loss, find that they are losing weight, they're having increased sweating. So
Yes.
those can be symptoms of diabetes as well. But the major ones I would say are increased thirst, increased urination,
Okay.
and weight loss seems to be increasingly a presented symptom as well.
And that's important to know.
That's important to know because oftentimes people think that diabetics are all obese. They're not all obese.
No, they're not. They're not.
You know, it presents differently. There are different types of diabetes. Diabetes is treated differently depending on the type that you have. Where do you fall? Are you a middle-aged female? Are you a young teenager with a type 1 diabetic
and that's becoming
diagnosis?
very popular.
Sure, yes.
Because of our diets.
Right.
Right?
It really is.
And I kind of do want to kind of stir into talking about diet. Do you ever encourage some of your patients to change their diet?
Oh.
Because, hello, we have got to get to the really bottom of what it is that's causing all of these diseases.
Sure.
It's our diet.
It's our diet. Our diet. So at least every day, every day, I mention the diet. My diabetic patients who I see a lot of patients in the facilities. And so when I go bedside and I see the box of Church's Chicken or Popeyes, I pause and we talk about that. We have a conversation about why you're still eating what you're eating. So it's difficult, right? People have built up habits. And again, it goes back to, I believe a big part of it is education, because people truly don't understand. They don't see the link. They hear it. They see it on television, and they hear, their doctors may talk to them about
their
the
history.
diet. Right.
Yeah,
for 15 minutes during clinic or during their appointments, but to really delve into the reasons why, the connection as to why your diet is not conducive to healthy living, people really do not understand. They don't get it.
And that's why I am beating them upside the head with
it.
Like, please live your best life. But
That's
it's the best thing is to eat well and to be well.
That's right.
If you don't eat right, it's no telling what you're putting yourself at risk. You're putting your whole body, even your mental and your spiritual, a lot of trouble when you don't watch what you eat. And a lot of us don't want to go to the doctors. People go to the doctor. They're your friends.
Right. Well, yeah, that's the key thing. You don't know. You can't treat something, or you can't help something that you don't know.
Right.
If you're never diagnosed with diabetes, how can you say, how can you manage it? How can you get it under control?
Absolutely.
It's impossible.
Right.
Right. For me, I try to use my platform to build that relationship and build a space where patients, for me, and this is just the way I practice.
Right.
And I think having practice on my own helped me to be able to do that. But I try to build a space where patients are comfortable. They ask me the most basic questions. Could we have been taking a medication for 10 plus years and not understand what it does to their body, right? That's education, right? Not understanding the definition of diabetes, that requires education. Not understanding the ways to eat, that is education. And so with my platform, that is what I think, to go back to the original question.
Sorry.
No, that's fine. It's wonderful. This conversation is great. That is impact, I think, that I've been able to make in the community. And I prayerfully hope that I can continue to make that impact on a greater scale, and for it all to be to the benefit of the patients, of the community.
Yes.
Truthfully,
please do it. We need it. I mean, don't ever sit back and think that we don't, because we need people like you to step up and tell us what's what, and, give us the signs and symptoms and solutions.
Sure.
For sure, right?
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit more about what you do on a daily basis.
Okay.
What are you doing with the feet?
Oh, yes, with the feet.
Feet are healthy feet.
Happy feet are healthy feet. So people ask me, so I want to say this quick thing, right? This quick story.
Do your thing.
Yes, so people ask me, for life comes full circle, doesn't it? It always does. It's so interesting. So I always knew that I wanted to be a physician and go to med school. I loved health. I always was, playing doctor as a child. But my passion for podiatry came in after college.
Okay.
Right, between college and med school. And at that time, I had a chance to shadow a podiatrist. I shadowed a couple of different specialties, but I shadowed a podiatrist because of a family situation. A family member that we had who suffered from diabetes and actually ended up with having double amputations.
Oh, wow.
Right?
Wow.
And so that really kind of piqued my interest then. Because I remember, she would go to different doctors, but the podiatrist, for some reason, was one of the doctors that she always was visiting, right? She was always at the foot doctor trying to save her feet. So the passion came from there. I really went in with the concept of limb salvage. And in podiatry, limb salvage refers to exactly what it says, saving the legs. There's a whole part of podiatry, kind of research and education dedicated to limb salvage, because that is how big the consequences of diabetes concerning amputation is.
People don't take it
people
seriously.
do not take it seriously. And the African American community is suffering tremendously as a result of it. You know, if I had to summarize what I do, I help save legs. I help save people's feet, you know, through things like education and proper podiatric care. I practice conservatively for the most part, meaning non-surgically. And that just came from, in residency, I went to a surgical residency where unfortunately a lot of the patients that I saw, we had to amputate. It led to amputation. And so my approach coming out of residency was, I want to do the opposite. I want to educate them before we get to amputation. I was disgusted at the end with all that had to transpire, right? All the amputations that could have been prevented. And so I practice with a different approach now. On a day-to-day basis, that's exactly what I'm doing, helping people save their legs. My patient population, I chose to serve the senior population. So over 90% of my patients are seniors. They're a little bit more complex in the sense that, you know, they're older. They oftentimes have had high diabetes, hypertension, high cholesterol for a number of years. They are ambulating a lot, you know, so poor circulation and things of that nature. But that it's a little bit more complicated. It's challenging, but they need it the most.
Yeah,
as
they
well,
need the attention,
right? They need
I'm
the
sure.
Most. So that's what I consider myself doing, you know, just trying to really help people stay on their feet, keep them ambulating, save their legs, right?
So let's talk about that. How can we prevent ourselves from going to the deep end with diabetes? Like, what are some things that we can do as people to maintain our health?
I try to go down to the basics. The basics are get rid of the fear, right? That sounds crazy because you're like,
no, it's not. No, it's not. Right? I get it.
Get rid of the fear. People are scared to go to the doctor. So it starts there, right? If you never know you have diabetes, you can't deal with it. You can't be put on the right medications. You can't be put on the right diet regimen if you don't even know you have diabetes. And we're using diabetes a lot, which is a great example, but that's the most prominent example I think that we use. But you can't get in front of something if you don't know that you have it. So get rid of the fear of going to the doctor. I try to speak about this a lot on my different social media platforms. Right. Find a provider, a doctor that you're comfortable with. Put some research into finding that person that kind of meshes with you. For instance, I'm a very informal doctor, right? People tell me, you don't look like a doctor. And they say that for a number of reasons. But, you know, I know where that I don't look like a doctor. We know what y'all
we're getting.
But I also kind of get it because, you know, oftentimes people think of doctors as very like stuck up.
You are
very
so
serious.
dope. That's
I'm
right.
like, I am not that type of doctor. Like, you need to relax, take it easy. You know, they're like doctors. I'm like, okay, chill. Okay, we can talk. We can talk freely. So find someone that kind of meshes with your personality that you're comfortable with. If you are needing a male doctor, look for a male doctor, young male doctor. And you know what the truth is? Oftentimes we are comfortable with doctors and providers that look like us. Don't be ashamed to look for a doctor that looks like you.
That's
right.
That's a big one.
That's a big one.
We do that
absolutely
on purpose.
Sure.
I feel like when you find someone that is like you, they will understand you more. But it's all preference.
You're right.
This show is all about preference, but at the same time, you do want to go to somebody that you're very comfortable with.
Sure.
I do not just go to anybody when it comes to my women's health concerns.
Right.
I want to know everything. Right. You know? So you do have to be open. You have to know who you're dealing with.
That's right.
You got to make sure that your instincts match with them.
That's right.
Because
the energy.
Everybody's not out to help.
That's right. Everyone is not, everyone practices, and I can talk from a medical standpoint. Everyone practices differently. And so whatever your preference is, just make sure it's someone that you're comfortable with, because you're doing yourself a disservice if you go to a doctor and you're not comfortable with. That just means you're not going to open up to them, going to hold back some of the truths. You may feel a little bit intimidated by them. So, and you're doing this for your own good. This is for your health. You are choosing a provider that you are comfortable with to benefit your health. right?
Absolutely.
And so you're taking charge of that by first making sure you're comfortable with this provider.
Yes.
Remember, your doctor is going to be running tests. We see the results before you see them.
Mhm.
We're going to explain them to you in a certain way. We may need to explain them to you in a way that you can understand. So make sure that you can understand what that person is saying.
Absolutely.
Right? In the way that they practice. So I would say that is the first thing. Get rid of your fear. That's one.
Mhm.
Be in charge of your health.
You
That's
have to
number
be.
2.
Yes.
Right?
It's very important.
It's a huge one.
It's huge. And again, it all boils down to making some healthy lifestyle changes.
That's right.
We have to get away from, that runs in the family.
Oh my gosh.
Oh,
absolutely.
I hate to hear that.
Yes.
I'm like, no. That diet runs in the
That's
family.
right. That's right.
We don't have to live the way our grandmothers lived.
We don't.
We can choose every day to be an advocate of our own health and also our children's health. I mean, whatever you're feeding yourself, you have to look at your children. Health is such a big deal. Yeah. And that's why I have stayed on the power of health so long, because I feel like I want to be a voice and bring people like you on the show to tell us about why it's so important for us to make sure that we make healthcare number one in our lives.
Right. Absolutely.
Because how can we live our best life if we don't feel our best?
Right.
You know?
Yeah. And health, interestingly enough, is one of those things that we just totally take for granted, right?
Oh, yes.
We do not think about anything concerning our health until we have that little headache, and then we want to die. Oh, I have a headache.
Oh,
no. We know. Or something else, or a scare happens, unfortunately.
Yes,
we don't think about it. Yeah, we don't think about our health and how fragile it is and how quickly it can be taken away and never return. It's very unfortunate. It's very unfortunate that and you know what? And I really want to commend you as well, absolutely, for speaking about this, because it's not quite the most popular topic.
No, it's
right.
Not.
It's kind of like pulling string, even from my patients. Even with my personality, sometimes they're like, "Oh, this is not the most fun thing."
No, and to tell them to change their diet and do all that, I'm sure
that ain't what they want to hear. There are some, genetic conditions in medicine, but like you're saying, Angel, the things that you put into your body, the movement of your body, what you choose, how you choose to, engage your body in certain exercise regimens, and that all lies in you. Somewhere along the line, we've been conditioned to think that we've lost all of our power concerning our health. We have. And I tell even when my patients come to me and they're like, "Oh, doctor, this," and I say, "Wait, first of all, I am your doctor. I have your back 100% concerning your foot and ankle and all of that stuff, but you are in charge of your health.
Yes.
I am just here to back you up.
Right.
You're the pilot.
Yeah, you're right.
Of this. This is your body. I have my body. You have your body. Right?
Yes.
You are in charge. And sometimes we have to take back our control concerning our health, people.
Yes.
It doesn't lie in the hands of your provider. It lies in your hands. It's not up to your doctor to cure you, because I see my patients, for 20, 25 minutes during the consultation. They go home and eat whatever, do whatever they want, may or may not follow my recommendations, may or may not be compliant.
Yeah.
It lies in your hands. You have the control. You have more control than you realize.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, that's for sure.
Right?
Yeah.
Concerning your health. So I encourage my patients, and I encourage your viewers, those listening, take back your control. Whatever control that you have handed to whoever, to family history. Sometimes we hand our control to family. Oh, this is just, we're doomed to all have diabetes. It don't matter. Go ahead and eat that extra piece of chicken, that fried chicken. Don't matter.
Yeah.
It does matter. Take back your control.
Health matters.
Right?
Health matters.
And so that's another key, and it's all a mind thing. I think before we even get into like medications and the specifics of certain conditions, it's a mind thing.
It's a mind thing.
Get over your fear, take back your control, be comfortable with who you choose to engage with in your health, meaning your doctor. So those things are all things that you can control. There are many things that you can't, but those things you can.
Awesome. So you're the author of My Serenity.
Right.
What inspired the name of the book?
Serenity, we all know, comes from the term is sort of related to having peace, tranquility. Mm-hmm. And all that I do, I sort of, and I guess that's a personal thing, I sort of is engraved in that. For me, it's rooted in that. Mm-hmm. And for me, I saw healthcare and wellness rooted in that as well.
Yes, yes.
I think that when you are at peace, you have balance within yourself, is when you find your true wellness, your true health. I trained in New York, right?
Okay.
I went to school in Harlem, did a lot of training
Look
there.
At you.
Right. And so just a different environment where I just found And my training was very impactful in the way that I practice now, because I found a lot of people who were we were very irritated, frustrated, overwhelmed with everything concerning their health, right?
Yeah.
Right? We all know a family member that has diabetes, hypertension, cholesterol,
High
everything
blood
is wrong,
pressure,
right?
all
They're on
of
about
it.
10 medications, can't remember to take them all. It's just confusing. You're like, Auntie, did you take your medication? I don't remember. I did something.
Yeah.
The doctors gave me some paper
Yeah.
and I got this referral. I mean, it was just so much confusion. It's
Wow.
overwhelming for people.
I'm sure.
And I found that when people have wellness, serenity, or balance in their health, when they truly understand, and that goes back to the education aspect, when they truly understand their health, they're better able to manage. It's a balance. It's like everything else.
It is,
right?
yeah.
You balance your finances,
Mhm.
right? You balance your workload, your children. If you have 4 or 5 children and you're a husband and a household, you're balancing that.
Yeah.
The same thing pertains to your health. Somewhere along the line, that was missing. I developed a journal, My Serenity, My Health, which helps to kind of navigate that, the feeling of being overwhelmed.
It's sort of like a release.
Right,
Right.
like a
In
release.
your journal.
Sure.
That's awesome.
Sure. So
That's nice.
it's a combination of a journal and a guideline to help you sort of be able to take control of your health, and also sort of release some of the things that you feel that are preventing you
Yes.
from taking control of your health. So that's where that sort of came out of.
Awesome.
That's a little deep. I think people are like, well, where did all of that come from? I truly feel that the combination of those things, the education and being able to release all of that, the overwhelming feeling of having so much to deal with concerning health, that kind of helps us find that balance.
And I love it.
Does that
Writing
make sense?
stuff. Yeah.
Is it a lot?
No, it's not. No,
Right?
it's not. I totally get it.
Yeah.
Like, I love that you have that concept of
Yeah.
a journal where they can kind of release and let it go.
Sure.
Because now it's in the universe, and
That's
it's like
right.
you let it out.
Right, right.
'Cause how many people, when I write,
Right.
I can only give you my personal experiences. When
Sure.
I write in my journal, it just lets me let go of that
That's
day
right.
or that month or
That's
whatever
right.
I'm going through.
Right.
And I can look back and say, you know what? I have grown from this. I am
Right.
so much better than this day.
That's right.
Thank you, God. You
That's
know, so
right.
really journaling is so powerful.
Yeah.
And everybody should be doing it, honestly,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
it's a way of making yourself better.
That's
It's
right.
a way back to
That's
look
right.
and say, look at my story.
Right. Look where
My
I've come
story did
from.
not end up the way that my fears said it would
That's
be.
right. There you go.
You know what I mean?
There you go.
So
I love
it's
it.
like
I
you
love
look
it.
at it and you say,
Uh,
wow, I have come a long way.
That's right. And we do that. And so we journal. Traditionally, we journal for our mental health, right?
Yes.
So this is almost like journaling for your physical health.
Absolutely.
Journal about how your labs went from this to this. And I encourage patients to write down questions that you have for your doctor before you go.
Yeah.
So you're not all frazzled. 10 minutes. Doctor's like, do you have any questions? You know how many times I ask my patients, do you have any questions? No questions.
And then they'll call
10
you
minutes.
later
Yeah,
and be
I
wanting to
thought
sit
you
on
didn't have any questions. You have, right? Because they're frazzled. And I totally get it. They're
Yeah.
frazzled at the time. They feel, it's a time limit. It's a little intimidating. And
It
so
is.
the journal, my hope is that it helps people to prepare for appointments. It helps them to understand their health. It helps them to jot down any questions that they may have.
Mhm.
And also their feelings concerning their appointments, anything health related. It's meant to be a comprehensive tool for that.
Well, keep talking
I
about
hope so. I
diabetes.
hope
Keep
it
talking
works.
about the health and wellness because
Yeah.
we need more people like that.
Thank you
So
much.
tell us, the last question is going to be, what
Sure.
ignites the fire within you to do what you love today? Leave us with some encouraging words.
Yeah. I think it's a combination of experiences in the past,
Mhm.
my true hope for people. So things that I saw in the past ignited me on the path that I am. Like, for instance, seeing the amount of people who suffered from things like amputations, truly unnecessary. That broke my heart. That experience broke my heart. I looked into the eyes of those people. I just felt so sorry that they did not know, that they didn't encounter someone maybe 2-3 years prior that said, stop eating that way. Stop drinking that way. Take those medications. Be compliant. So that way they didn't have to present to me at the age of 45 years old and I'm telling them, listen, we have to prepare the operating room. Right? That broke.
And then I'm sure it breaks your heart to tell them it's too late.
At that point, it's too late. So those are the people that I wish I met 4 or 5 years ago. It's so sad.
Oh my
But
God.
so that is what ignites me. That when I say my experiences, That's what I'm referring to. Looking into the future, what ignites me furthermore are the people that hopefully that I'm helping, right?
Yes.
To not get to another person who's working in a hospital, another doctor who's working in a hospital, to prevent them from meeting someone who has to say, you know what, you're now in the emergency room and we're preparing the operating room.
Dr. Sarepta, I commend you. I commend you. Are an angel on earth.
Oh, thank you so much.
Everything happens on purpose. I have never cried on my show. I'm going to cry today. I'm sorry. I feel something because all that matters to me at the end of the day is to make sure that we're changing one person at a time, if not the nation. Mm-hmm. Honestly, what you're doing by having the hourly power that you have every month, you have no idea the impact that you're putting on people to do the right thing and to make the right thing an important thing. Get real with yourself. Get real with your health. Like, face your fears. Really show up at the doctor's office. If you feel something is not right and it's not going away, go to the doctor. Talk to somebody. They're your advisors. Let them talk to you. Let them walk you through it, because it may be a time where they can actually prevent something from happening even worse. And I know it doesn't sound good to talk about having a leg or a foot taken off. This is not the easiest conversation to have, but it's real. It's a real conversation where you have to get real with yourself before it gets that real. That's the whole point. And I thank God that we have you here on the show.
I return it all to God. Humbly, I say that in all sincerity. I return it all to God. I believe I'm simply just a vessel. And, I just welcome whatever God puts in me. And, and I thank God for my ability to pour it out. And that's what I'm going to continue to do, because it's needed. The education is needed.
Yeah.
I just pray that it doesn't fall on deaf ears. This is real. Like you said,
real.
It's not the most glamorous conversation.
It's not.
Right?
And I'm so glad that we're talking about the topic, diabetes.
Yeah. Right. It's
important. We act like it doesn't exist, and it actually exists in our neighborhood more than any other race.
And we're being affected a lot more because of our fears, because of our lack of compliance. We're not taking our medications.
Lack of education.
We're not eating right. We're not listening. We have so many excuses, and it's just time that we take control. We do what we know is right, and what you don't know, you get the information.
Yes.
Yeah.
Get the information. So how can we find information from you? How do we find you online?
Yes.
And where do we find you on social media?
So on social media, all my platforms, I'm under Dr. Sarepta. That's Dr. Sarepta on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. I'm accessible. I love to connect with people. So reach out, message me, DM me, whatever you like. I answer questions all the time, as much as I can. If you need a referral or just some advice, as long as I can give it, I will. Reach out. Or if not to me, to someone else, just reach out. Yes. Get the help that you need.
She's so sweet. Her energy is perfect. I mean, if you guys are looking for anyone, she is the best one to reach out to.
Thank you.
So
Appreciate
thank
that.
you so much for
Thank
being
you for
on our
having
show.
me. This has been amazing.
Oh
my pleasure. My pleasure. Yes.
Well, all right. Thank you, everyone, for joining this party with a purpose. I'll catch you next week. Follow your girl on I Am Angel Yasmin on Instagram. Find me on YouTube, same name, I Am Angel Yasmin. And also my website is www.angelyasmin.com. Make sure you leave a review on all the shows. If you have anything to say, I am here to listen. Fire at your girl. All right, so it's getting real hot up in here because we are so fired up.
When they strike, we light up the world.